What is going on, Legionnaires? Happy Sunday. I hope everyone has had a good week. Well, this is at week's end. We're about to cap off this fantastic week by doing a spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics, movies, shows, and more. But before we do that, you know what to do. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and check this out. As always, I'd like to give a huge thank you to Big Time Collectibles. Be sure to check them out at their website. Follow them on social media. You can find them on Whatnot. And if you need to get anything cleaned and pressed for the holiday season or any season, be sure to hit up Justin Comicx. You can hit the link in the description and get straight to him. He can hook it up for as little as $10 a book. Make sure you let him know you found him via the channel. And as always, a huge shout out to ABX Comics and Games, my local comic shop that you can also find a link in the description to their Facebook group. It's a great place to start interacting with an online community about comics and even tabletop gaming and all kinds of cool stuff. So don't miss out on that opportunity. Let's get some festive folks up on the show with me. We got none other than Mr. Paul Cook with a very festive shirt.
Thank you. Thank you.
What issue you got there?
What's that?
What issue you got on your shirt this time?
I believe this is Action Comics number 105.
105. We were talking about on Spidey's Lair, like the first appearance of Santa Claus at DC Comics. It was in a Superman Christmas special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you had that shirt on last week or last time I was on screen with. At some point in the last week when we were on here hanging out doing something, you had that image on your shirt with them like swooping down toward the chimney. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll turn it up.
You may see that next week, actually.
I hope so. And you know who's extra festive?
Tell me who.
That'd be none other than the Canadian power bottom himself, Sir Timothy Nerdy.
Look at that. A Christmas Superman.
The red cap with the Daredevil, the red shirt with the Superman. That's representation if I've ever seen it.
It's very red night. We're all got the red on.
Yeah. I feel like I'm not wearing festive enough stuff. This is all I got for tonight. Say hey to the chat. We'll get rocking and rolling here. As always, coming in, clocking in first. Las Crucius 1971. I think I'm too early. ABX coming in right behind him. Me too. Early, that is. Hashtag We Are Legion. Big shout out to Las Crucius and ABX. Okay, team. We shall do this. What is going on, Pops? Good to see Pops in the chat. Scott, what is happening? I can hang out a little bit, but I'm about to fall asleep. No worries. No worries. Hope you had a good weekend, Scott. What is going on, Cliff? Man, they rocked it. They knocked it out of the park with their toy drive. I think he said they made like $1,300+ dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Fantastic. Not yet, Scott. Not yet. It's coming though. It is definitely coming. I read 1980 DC Christmas special. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I was looking at the DC Comics Unlimited. Dude, they are stacked for Christmas specials on there. Stacked. All the way back to 1940. Like, that's the earliest one I saw was 1940. Remy Q Studios in the building. What is going on, brother? Hope you're doing good. Canadian Power Bottom. That is representation. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Indeed. 1,380 schmackaroos. Nice. Huge congrats to Cliff. Huge congrats to Cliff. And all the guys that put in all the effort and gals and I think it's the Marines that they work with to do it in partnership with kind of thing. I know it's at least the Marines that Cliff goes to see as he sells these toys based on what Cliff has said. I'm not making this up. Comic Cap Collectibles, what is going on? Hope you had a good weekend as well. Good to see you. I'd love to have floppies of those 1940. Yeah, I think everyone would, right? Like that would be fantastic. What is going on, Tate Prime in the chat? Good to see you as always. Appreciate you being here. Mr. Beckerman, how are you doing? All right, let's end the week. We shall end the week. All right, so dude, it's not too many topics. Like I've been going 100 miles an hour this time of year, but I did do one thing, with the whole MonsterVerse stuff really hitting. Like it's just this season belongs to the MonsterVerse. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But one thing about the MonsterVerse stuff, it's got a lot of people excited, but it's potentially going to be short-lived. You know what I mean? Like where Marvel and DC, there's just stuff always coming out. The MonsterVerse stuff hits every so often. And it's just crazy to think that we have like 3 overlapping things happening at once between the Monarch television show, Godzilla -1, which is a completely separate entity altogether. And then we'll have Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire in April. So that had me thinking, had me wondering, knowing how just the decline in interest and the negativity that surrounds the DC movies and the Marvel Disney stuff. It made me put out a post on my community tab, and I decided to share it each night, like reshare it just to push it back up. And it had very interesting results. What you need?
We didn't have lunch today.
Yeah, that was way earlier. You had dinner tonight, though, with G. Give me a high five. Your pretzel's on the end of the table, too, if you want to get it. She ran like this. her little frozen pajama with the snowflakes on it. This looks hilarious. All right, hey, you better be careful with that. Okay? Okay. So I put a poll out on my community tab asking people to weigh in. Which one are you more excited about? And the numbers came back, and I wasn't surprised, but I was surprised about the divide. Now, this isn't a giant sample, but for my reach, it's actually really good. There's 111 votes, and the entire time it would like the votes were coming in, like the percentages didn't change much. They fluctuated just barely. So it was like just all it was doing was staying the same, just getting more votes. But the percentages that they weighed in were the same. But it has the MCU at a measly 15%, the DCU at an embarrassing 26%, and the MonsterVerse dominating it at 59%. Now, my audience should naturally like tip DC heavy. Like in my mind, like I do a lot of DC centric content, but to see just kind of like the disconnect from comics and looking to want something new. What are y'all's thoughts on that? Where are y'all at on that?
I think a lot of these things are very cyclical in nature. I mean, I think that you get too many and movie studios tend to oversaturate when they think that they have something that people want. They put out way too much, and then people start to shy away from. I would not be surprised if somewhere down the road in a couple of years, suddenly cowboy movies are back, and it's like and then maybe war movies are back after that.
Absolutely.
It's just I think people want diversity, and then when a studio thinks that people really like something, they're like, okay, let's totally put out as much as we possibly can until they get sick of it, and then we'll move on to the next thing.
So why? Well, real quick, Tim, what's your thoughts on it? Because this whole thing's like me wanting to bring this up, sparked from a conversation me and Travis had earlier in the week too. So where's your perspective on it?
I think a lot of people, since -1 has come out, like a lot of people are like loving what they're seeing with the new trailer of Godzilla X Kong, and then with Monarch being out, I think like everybody is on that hype train of the monster universes right now. And so that's why I think a lot of people did vote for the MonsterVerse. I voted for DC because I'm still excited for DC.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I wanted people to be honest, like obviously like MonsterVerse is the shiniest toy right this minute. This week it is the hottest commodity. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
But I also think if you have Godzilla in January, and then you have Rodan in April, and then you have Mothra in September, people would get just as tired of those as they have of. So every couple of years, I think is enough to it keeps people interested enough in wanting to know it because you have all the hype that comes before it. But it's not like they feel like they have to go and see 3-4 movies every single year with basically the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Why do you think it is that like there was such an influx in the past handful of years? Because DC has been pumping out content on the silver screen and at home since forever at different rates. But what do you think it is that just made these studios across the board just want to just explode with the volume of content they were putting out? Because it got insane across the board. It isn't just a Disney thing. DC launched its streaming service and it premiered it with Titans. And the second that was over, we had Swamp Thing dropped. And the second that was over, they were lining up the Harley Quinn show, then the
Doom Patrol and
Stargirl. It was meant to like be nonstop. And then the movies, obviously they're getting them out as fast as they can. And everyone knows the frequency in which Marvel is doing stuff as well. Well, what the hell happened?
Well, I think I put the streamers in a different category because I think you know what you're going to get with a streamer. If you want to pay that, I think most people are paying that to get as much content as they can for those type of things. If I'm subscribing to DC Universe or whatever it happens to be, I want to see new content involving as many DC characters as I possibly can. Because I'm paying my money for it. But it's like it's different. I think when you talk about the movies because now you're going away from the niche consumer that you're going for with the streamers for the most part, and now you're going to the overall, the greater consumer at large.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up like kind of the niche consumer or the niche consumer. That's what me and Travis were kind of touching on, like the potential for 2024 to kind of be the launching point for DC to kind of, because like when it comes to Marvel and DC being the big two, like take the movie aspect out of it. Just think of just like the companies in general across the board as a whole. It's been a back and forth since the 60s. DC held it down for years. Marvel had a good pop in the 60s, and DC will get more popular than Marvel, than DC, blah, blah, blah. So, like, when it comes to the movies, I feel like we really just hit that era. Just like with the comics, DC just owned the movie realm for the longest time. And then Marvel had their cinematic Stan Lee era where he came in as like this. The birth of the MCU was the comic book 60s. You know what I mean? Like when they just exploded. And now we're getting to that point where people are just like, there's still enjoyment to be had with it, but more people are not finding it than they're looking for an alternate at this point. They're tired of it. The toys have gone dull. Blades are dull. They want new stuff.
Yeah, and I think the streamers have to be very careful because they have to walk that razor's edge between putting out enough content that people think they're getting their money's worth, and not putting out so much content that the quality goes down and people don't think they're getting their money's worth. Because if I have to, because right now, with what they've just done, I could have saved $40 and bought the first series of The Mandalorian on DVD instead.
Yeah, and on to that point, like I personally don't see 2024 or 5 being some kind of massive leap for DC because, like for the past couple of years, much like with the grading services competing, we were waiting on that second tier service to really take the opportunity and move into first place. I don't see a peak MCU level anything ever happening again like that with this stuff. That was a one-off. And now like the best that I think that DC can do is play to their niche audience that they've had since they started. Like DC comic movies have always been successful. They've always been managed properly, budgeted properly, merchandised properly, and played to a specific audience. And those people, if you play to them, your movie will succeed by itself. Any general audience beyond that is kind of just the icing on the cake. So as palatable as you can make it to a general audience is just extra. But without that core fan base, it's going to collapse because they will tear it down, whether you want them to or not. So I kind of see that we're moving into an era where we're no longer playing to this mass hysteria of people needing to go opening weekend. It's not water cooler conversation anymore. We're back to the audience we started with, but we're back to that audience in a weird era where the internet is just the most savage place in the world for anything Hollywood centric at all. Do you see any kind of big pop for DC even with Superman Legacy coming?
I don't see it like you said. I don't see it like the huge MCU pop like we had with like when Iron Man came into it and like with the Avengers and the stuff. I don't see that kind of pop, but I see it being a lot more successful than it has been the last couple of years. Especially with James Gunn. I have full faith in what he does, and that he will be good at promoting Superman Legacy and playing fan service. Like he will be. He's a fan himself. There's a reason why he's choosing characters from a certain age, because that's when he read the comics. That's where he enjoyed the most comics. He was a huge fan of the
80s. He's peeling the pages of the 80s almost, like the 80s and 90s. It's definitely his era.
And he was a huge fan of JLI. So like you could definitely see Booster Gold coming, Plastic Man coming.
Maxwell
I'm not
Lord
sure
got
if
announced this week, played by his
Maxwell
brother
Lord.
Sean Gunn. And
a lot of people are not liking that.
that's what I was about to say, dude. I don't think people are rising up to support Gunn at DC, and I think this massive amounts of announcements already have people. They're disinterested. I saw a massive size poll, like it had like 100 and something thousand votes. Like, are you excited for Superman Legacy? Yes, no, maybe kind of thing. And only like 24% said yes, and the rest fell on no and maybe. And I'm sure if you ran that same poll with the same numbers today, it'd be less because the more people he's announcing for this movie, the less people are getting it. It's having the reverse effect, like at least the pre-movie era internet crowd. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily your base, and it's such a difficult place, I'd imagine, for a filmmaker to have this soundboard to bounce all this stuff off of, and it's the worst demographic you can possibly imagine because the vast majority of people that are like trashing or this or that stuff online like that, you know, they're doing it because that's where they hang out. They're not going to see stuff anyways. They're gonna pirate it if they watch it at all or not actually care, but they weigh in, so you get like this very dishonest sample size of stuff these days. It's weird. I don't know. I'm nervous as hell about it. I know like where I was just ridiculously stoked when he made that initial announcement video. I've moved to a place of indifference almost, like we'll see kind of thing. I'll be there, of course. I'll be there opening night for everything, and I'll be there to see, and most likely I'll fanboy out, but it doesn't necessarily mean I think it'll be what it should be to really boost.
Did they say Maxwell Lord is going to be in Superman Legacy, or just that he was cast and
Now that you mention it, I'm not sure. I can look.
Yeah, and then a lot of people are saying like nepotism and stuff, but let's be honest, like Sean Gunn, like he even in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, he had a very emotional moment in that movie, and you felt it. He's a good actor. He's put in the work too, being the body for Rocket Raccoon, being the body for Weasel, I want to call him. I'm not sure his name, but from the Suicide Squad.
Yep.
I think he'd be good. And James Gunn also put out a statement saying like, "Oh, Maxwell Lord is not always a villain." Like he said, like I remember him being like just part of the team. So like he's not going to play like he's not going to be a major character like he was in Wonder Woman 84, but he's going to be a minor character like most Sean Gunn roles are.
Yeah, so he played Weasel, and then he's voicing Weasel in the animated Creature Commandos, and this does like everyone. I don't know why everyone's like online on this like whole little let's debunk James Gunn thing. It's like people are following him around trying to find where he's lying about stuff, and he's like, "You said that you were going to you're going to cast the same people for live action and voice," which he did say that. He did say that, and now he's kind of bucking on that. But I completely expected to see Sean Gunn in some kind of capacity. I completely expect Michael Rooker. Just like if Christopher Nolan was directing it, I would expect certain actors to show up. Ken Watanabe, Cillian Murphy. There's certain actors that work with certain directors. That's not nepotism. That's literally your squad. You know, and that's the team of people.
Also, Weasel doesn't speak. He makes noises.
He just drowns. That's all.
Well, he didn't. He was alive at the end.
And also, not sure if y'all know this, he played two parts in the Suicide Squad. He played Calendar Man and Weasel.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll see. It's very I don't know. I think that the old Monsterverse thing is definitely a great palate cleanser, if anything else. While we go through this little period with, I don't know, just kind of thankfully not MCU stuff releasing right now. It'll be a little while before we get something. You know, they went in and they're like, we got this new Captain America movie we should have put out years ago, and we're looking at it now. That we look at it for the first time, it's absolute trash, and we got to start over.
Yeah, the thing that makes me nervous about these things is, you know, you have this Green Lantern series that's supposed to be about this big mystery, right? That of the DC universe, right? You have, I just want them to make a good Superman movie. I don't need it to kick off a universe. I don't need it to do anything else. I just want a good Superman movie. I just want a good Green Lantern series. It doesn't have to be part of this bigger, all-encompassing type of a thing. That's where I think that they lose some people is if I have to watch 34 movies to get the entire story, I'm not going to do that twice.
No, it's definitely too much.
Another thing that people are I know I've seen a lot of it, and it's with Peter Safran, how like they did it with the Batgirl movie, which it made sense with the Batgirl movie, but then they did it with the Wile E. Coyote movie. A lot of actors now are not wanting to go work at Warner Brothers because they're worried that their projects will get scrapped and will get it's going to be a write-off, to the point where Acme versus Coyote, that James Gunn actually wrote some of it, and John Cena stars in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's enough people on the internet were like, we want to see this movie. We don't want to see it scrapped. And now Paramount and Netflix are might be getting the rights to that movie, even though it's a Looney Tunes movie, and Warner Brothers owns the rights. It'll be on a different network, just kind of like how that new Batman animated movie is on Prime Video.
Yeah, and the new Batman animated series is going to be there too. The new one with the Bruce Timm one is going to be on Prime as well. And they've also sold the rights to a lot of their current DC movies to play on Netflix. So they're not just going to be on Max anymore.
Yeah, they moved over there already.
Yeah.
So it's not just like we have to worry about James Gunn. I think some people are against James Gunn. A lot of people are like, oh, James Gunn will bring quality movies, but then you have to worry about the actual people that are running things above James Gunn, because James Gunn even wrote most of that Wile E. Coyote movie, but didn't help it from getting sold off or getting scrapped.
That around, we'll see where that lands. That one's not getting shelved. They're not getting their money back for it, so they have to do something with it that involves making money. But the whole sending stuff over to Netflix, dude, I think that is a massively good idea. They're smart. I think that was more calculated than people think. Mm-hmm. Because for one, it costs these streaming services a lot of money to keep this product on their platform. Even though they own it, there are costs that go into maintaining it on that platform. We saw where Disney was having the same content cutting measures, that they made some wild decision that made a lot of people mad, where they wouldn't work with them again and all kinds of stuff, i.e. Willow. But in terms of this, you have Rebel Moon coming this month on the 21st. It got announced this week that it got moved back one day to a 7 p.m. premiere on Netflix, Thursday, the 21st. You have this huge hashtag thing trending. Release the Snyder Cut turned into restore the Snyderverse, turned into sell the Snyderverse to Netflix. I'll put on the next one. And now, put the next one on. And now they've moved all this stuff over there the same time that they're about to release Rebel Moon, which is Zack Snyder's big epic that's dropping. This is the film that all the Snyder fans are most excited about since the Snyder Cut. A lot of people follow this director like you would follow certain writers and this and that. I'm one of those people. Army of the Dead was cool, but this has history with the director. This is more than just a random film. This has been a long time in the making. It has comics attached to it and all kinds of other stuff. It's expanding. It's becoming its own universe. And on top of that, this past week, there was a article that got written based off of some guy who worked at Netflix. I can't remember his name. I can't even account for what he does there. But he said in an interview, we would love to buy the license from DC to continue Zack Snyder's vision. Now, that doesn't mean anything, but the fact that conversation is being had is just getting that hype train going. So now they're taking all of this inventory of content, and instead of it costing them money on their platform, they're generating money with it on a different platform that ultimately leads people back to Warner Brothers. There has to be Warner Brothers stuff on Netflix. There has to be Disney stuff on Netflix. That's how you get people to come back to the rest of your catalog. It's a sampling of what this place has to offer. So I think it's a massively smart idea. So much into it.
You talk about streaming services that are going to keep going up as the years go. Disney is not the Max might not, but like Netflix is, I feel like going to have a resurgence because I know they had like a down couple of years. They're going to have a resurgence with like freaking The Sandman that came out Wednesday brought them viewers. One Piece brought them viewers.
One Piece.
The only thing I could say about Netflix is like they should definitely, like I know people become accustomed to it, but I really feel like they should do it weekly. Like drop episodes weekly and then go back to that format, and that it helps people too, like people that want to review the show, and that when it drops all at once, nobody wants to go and review the show because everybody's already watched it. That when you go and drop it once a week, you can go review the show, drop it, and then bring more eyes to that platform, and then they're like, oh, we're going to definitely go check that out. Or people are still unsure, you give another review on the second episode, then people are like, oh, I'm on board. Like I was going to do that with Twisted Metal, and this is a whole different platform, Peacock, but they dropped all the episodes all at once. So I was like, oh,
yeah, it's a terrible format. Like it's the dumbest format I've ever seen for trying to maintain people on a platform. Like we're watching in real time, like people in our little conversation circle struggling with Apple TV, struggling. They're like trying to gauge when they're going to turn on their free trial because they're wanting to watch Monsterverse so bad. They're wanting to watch that Monarch show, and they're like, I'm waiting for it to get closer so I can get the free trial and I can binge it, or I'm checking to see if I have the 3-week thing or the 3-month thing. And some people are breaking down and just buying it. So that's what you want. And the only way to do that is like you mentioned, and is to piece it out. Like,
yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know why.
You need, the streamers need to make their best series appointment TV, just like the networks do.
Like HBO.
Mm-hmm. Right. But that's a good point. I mean, what Brother John says here is, I mean, obviously, you can't just acquire the rights to just the Zack Snyder Justice League because it's Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and all those characters would still be owned by somebody else. So
yeah, they want to license the characters to continue that storyline with.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then, again, the person who said that in the interview, I don't know what his job title was. It was like I read it on X. It was like a bounding into Comicx interview. So who knows? Like that's not like top shelf reporting. So when he reaches out to Netflix, who knows who he gets a hold of? You know what I mean? Like how credible of a source that person is.
Going back to what we were talking about, if I'm a streamer, would I rather have someone who sits at 6 o'clock in the morning and watches my stream for 6 hours to watch everything? Or would I rather have someone who comes back 6 times to watch something? Because I drop it once, one episode every single week.
Yeah, because they'll sit down for an hour intended, and who knows what they'll watch unintended after that.
Exactly.
Yep.
And also, it brings back the point. It's like, oh, you have an episode to talk about each week with people around too. So
you have to create water cooler television. That's really the sign of a successful show.
Daddy,
Yo, that's okay. I picked. It's a Santa Claus movie.
But Netflix is coming out with
flippers waving an American flag.
Great projects, and like even not DC, kind of DC related, but not really, with the Sandman, Dead Boy Detectives coming out as well. That'll be connected with each other. I'm trying to think of what else is coming to Netflix that a lot of people are going to be pumped for.
They have the Witcher.
The Witcher, but a lot of people have lost interest in The Witcher after season 3.
Yeah, because Henry Cavill's not going to be The Witcher anymore.
No, I think Liam Hemsworth that came in, right?
Yeah.
What did Amazon announce? I think Amazon had some announcements for some shows or something here recently. Oh! What are we, 2 days away? 2 days away from Reacher season 2 kicking off, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, December 15th. So
Let's go.
5 days.
5 days. 5 days. No, dude, Alan Rickman did like this amazing promo advertisement that he posted to the socials. And he's like, I got a big announcement for you guys. Reacher season 2, December 15th or whenever. But that's not the biggest announcement. And he turns his camera and he's like, that's right. I'm on the set of Reacher 3, which we are filming right now. I'm like, yo! Oh, dude, I'm so excited for that. So excited. That first season was amazing. He's such that's just, I don't know. He has that X factor about him in that role. Like you need to watch more. Just like, what's he about to do now? Like he's gonna grin and break somebody's face and just crack their legs and fold them up like a lawn chair to stuff them in the trunk. Who knows? Spider-Man New War on Prime. Maybe that was what I heard. That's going to be an animated or a live action?
I think a live action.
Yeah.
Crazy. Sony's just they're just do everything. Do it all. Madam Web, do it. Spider-Man New War, do it. Craven, do it. They done lost their minds. I think they're just behind the curve. All of this they wish they would have done and gotten it out 2 years ago, and they're just late. And now we're going to be seeing a lot of stuff like that. I think for the next year, we're going to see a lot of stuff come out and fail. A lot of stuff that, like because how long it takes to make this stuff, they would have never made by the time it releases. Like they're already full of regret that they can't stop at this point. They've got to put it out. How many streaming services are there, and isn't it now more expensive to get them all instead of a cable? I feel like it backfired. No, it's not. It's not to that point. Oh, I guess it depends. Right. Like if you had cable package with movie channels, you're paying like $100 and something a month, like to have HBO, Showtime, stuff like that. Like hundreds of dollars a month. Streaming services do not add up to hundreds of dollars a month. I've got them all.
Also, I just want to point out with Netflix, you can get it for $5.99 a month with commercials, with ads and stuff, and it's not even that bad. Like I just had Seinfeld going, watched 3 episodes of Seinfeld, no ads. The 4th episode had 1 5-second ad, and that was it. So,
that's not bad.
And the new thing that's coming is a lot of these are starting to bundle with each other now too.
So that just happened too. Like now you can access Hulu from Disney. I'm going to go walk back here and go check on the kids. They're not getting up like I asked, but they're hollering for me. So who knows what they want.
So like you have Disney and Hulu and ESPN Plus. You can get those. The other thing is almost every single carrier now, the phone carrier, offers some sort of a deal on one of the streamers. I get my Disney and Hulu Plus and ESPN Plus through my Verizon account for free. I think if you get Walmart Plus now, if you buy Walmart Plus, you end up with Paramount Plus as well, I think. So almost all of them now come together. But even though the ones that are kind of competing, I mean, like Disney and Hulu and ESPN, they're all owned by Disney, so that's not really competing. But like Paramount Plus, there's the reports that Paramount Plus and Peacock may have a bundle where you can get the 2 of them for something, for a lower price. So they're kind of looking at these type of deals where, and then the other thing is what a lot of people do is they'll buy Paramount Plus for 3 months. They'll binge whatever they want, and then they'll drop it until they come back and they end up with, with something else that they want to watch. So you can actually, hop from streamer to streamer to watch what you want and kind of binge them that way as well. So there's lots of ways around it. But yeah, I'm with Mark. I have pretty much all of them too, and I don't think I'm still paying as much as I was paying just for basic. I mean, not for basic cable, but for regular cable. But I can definitely see where people, depending on, everything has a streaming now too. You can get AMC Plus. You can buy almost any channel now and get a plus with it and get a streaming service as well. But the big ones like Paramount and Disney and Netflix and Hulu and Apple Plus or whatever.
Apple TV, yeah. There's a ton now because like every production company is wanting to get in on it.
Exactly. And some of these, the biggest thing with streaming right now for a lot of companies is they're not making any money for these companies right now. Most of the companies are still losing money on their streaming. Disney has lost a whole bunch of money on its streaming services. So how many may actually, when everything kind of shakes out and give it a couple of years and see if there's as many streamers in 5 years as there are now, there may not be.
Also, which reminds me of like when you said like Disney is losing money. They just announced too that they're releasing some of their Disney movies that they just dropped on the services. They're going to release those in theaters like Red, Soul, and there's another one I can't think of right now, but they're going to release them in theaters and see how they do to kind of get their money back because they dropped those all on Disney Plus instead of having a theatrical release.
Yeah, because they came out during the pandemic.
What was
they're releasing like the movies that they just dropped on Disney Plus. They're releasing them into theaters, like Red, Turning Red, Soul, and there was one other one.
Luca.
Yeah, I think part of that. I think there's two parts to that. Is part of it is I think they're trying to recoup their money because these were all released during the pandemic, and the other thing is these companies are finding that they have little product to get themselves until all these things get rolling again.
Did y'all see where Faraway Downs is on Hulu? It's a television show called Faraway Downs starring Hugh Jackman and Nicole Kidman. And what it is, it's the, 2004, 2006 Baz Luhrmann movie, Australia. And during the lockdown, Baz had all this time on his hand, and he was just one day reminiscing over Australia, and he was looking at some of the footage he had for it, and he had a lot of extra footage because it's like an epic, it's like a period piece epic. So he got this idea, since like we're in a lockdown and I want to work on something. He went back and he re-edited and worked on and spliced a very, very extended version of the movie. It's like an hour and 47 minutes longer than the initial 2-hour release kind of thing. And then they used the alternate ending for it, and then they cut it into 6 parts and just released it on Hulu. But I've watched Australia countless times, and I went and ended up watching Faraway Downs like while I was at work over the past week, and it was fantastic. Like there's enough different about it, that you're like, dude, I don't remember this.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
there's all kinds of little lockdown projects coming, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, CBS is showing NCIS Sydney. Because they ran out, they ran out of new products. So they're basically showing the NCIS show that they show in Australia. They brought it to the States to show it here instead.
That's pretty funny. I wonder how many seasons that one went for.
I don't know.
Like we have like SVU, they have like Animal VU. It's a crocodile attacker taken by the marsupials found in the sack.
If anyone watched Ghosts, the comedy on CBS, the CBS started showing the Ghosts UK, the original series, because it needed product. So
it's getting wild. It's getting wild out there. Let's see. We mentioned Rebel Moon. Aquaman's approaching quickly. That's releasing. And that's kind of a weird thing. Rebel Moon was set to release on the official release date for Aquaman, the 22nd, but they pushed it back to the 21st at 7 p.m. And it's no secret that movies technically release Thursday evenings to get that extra little bit out of the weekend box office numbers. It almost seems like they're intentionally coming for Aquaman, right? Y'all get those vibes? Paul, you're grinning. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's like, as much as Zack Snyder wants James Gunn to succeed, I'm sure there's part of him that says, you know what? I think I want to put this right up against your Aquaman.
Let's be fair,
although James Gunn is not involved in Aquaman at all. So
yeah, it sucks too because I was gonna get my ticket for the 21st, but for some odd reason it's only playing in Charlottetown and not my city. So I'm going to go see it on the 22nd. So I get to see Rebel Moon on the 21st and then go see Aquaman on the 22nd. But it does seem like it's just like a big Zack Snyder's like a big FU to DC. Like this is like the last movie in his universe that he was allowed. So,
Mark, did you get the Aquaman seahorse? That's its head poking out over that comic right there with Aquaman on its back. It's right there.
Oh, right there.
Right there. Yeah, the McFarlane, I got the whole McFarlane wave for it. They're really nice. I'm very excited for it. Some of the trailers that they've been dropping for Aquaman, like they're kind of like theme trailers, they've done one like focusing on Orm. Looks fantastic. They did one on Topo even that looked rock and roll, but dude, the one that they've done like with like Angry Arthur, like Angry Aquaman was absolutely nuts. And the movie itself is already, it was announced this week that it is in the finalist categories for special effects for the Oscars, which I thought was pretty interesting. Yep. So that's good.
It is good.
Let me pull this up. What was it more specifically? Is this it? Yeah, new poster. No, that's not it. 20 Oscar VFX finalists. So there's 20 of them. and it's in the running.
There's some weird movies in that category, but I'm trying to remember which ones.
Oh, I got it, Scott. Yes, sir. I pre-ordered it the day they went on pre-order. I never noticed a seahorse there. It's like a whole Where's Waldo in this background.
Mm.
What was that, TM?
Oh, I just remember there being weird movies like in that category for best VFX, and I just can't remember which ones.
Yeah, I haven't seen the list or anything. I just saw the announcement for Aquaman making the finalists. Adventures Joe says a lot of people are hoping Amber Heard doesn't make it through the movie. Man, that's tragic. I guarantee you his dad doesn't.
Just spoilers, guys. Nobody makes it past this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you get the elf on a shelf again? Yeah, there's 2 elves in this house, and there's one at my job. So there's elves everywhere at this point in my life. Elves are a part of life.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's all that I really know of dropping news-wise this week. Anything else I want to hit on? You want to start talking about some of these funny books that dropped?
Hey, speaking of movies, right? Good news on the Godzilla -1, right? It's up to like $51 million. It only dropped like 28% from week 2 to week 3, which is like one of the lowest drops all year. There was a report when somebody told the director that someone had reported that he made the movie for $15 million. Apparently, he said, I wish I had that much money to make that movie.
Yeah, so less than $15 million budget. It's been breaking all kinds of records. It had the initial record for like the highest grossing live action Japanese film release weekend here in the States. Now it's broken the record for like all time live action Japanese release film here in the States. And they extended.
Oh, sorry. I said I know it did make the VFX list as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it also it's been extended into more theaters and a longer theatrical runtime based off of its positive reception as well. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor and go see it. It's definitely, dude. It's in the conversation running for movie of the year. Like I don't think I don't even know if it's qualified like for the same kind of accolades that the American release films are. It would fall under foreign film category for most
probably
awards category stuff, but in my book, I can't tell you something else that dropped this year that I would say is a better overall film experience than this was. Like for just all around, just like average it out. Like this was just my favorite theater experience of the year. It was a blast.
But yeah.
Sorry, Kyle's messaging me. She's getting out of work. Comic books. This was a smaller release week than the past few of them that we had, but there was definitely some stuff that was worth talking about. And I know, TM, you didn't read this one, but it's out of the stack of books that came out this week, I was the most excited by the end of this one. And surprisingly, this is Shazam, issue number 6 by Mark Waid. We said and talked about when we were going into this, it looks like Mark Waid is attempting to reestablish this character in a way that he was before making him a silly, goofy character. The elements of him sharing his powers with an entire orphanage, that's gone. The whole thing of him not having a name and a whole entire generation of comic readers thinking this character's name is Shazam, which it isn't, it never was, that's gone. The idea that Mary Marvel is Mary Marvel, that's back. The idea that he has a name, it is back. The idea of him being a stupid kid when he's in the form of the champion is gone. Finally, thanks to this issue, it was completely addressed, a long conversation with the captain and Solomon himself about you've held back. You've held back when bestowing your power upon me. Why? and he gave him the full juice like he's supposed to. And the wisdom of Solomon is back, and there is a clear difference between the champion or the captain and Billy Batson. And I couldn't be more excited to pick up issue 7. What a great book. Thank you so much, Mark Waid, for bringing back Captain Marvel. It was just it was such a fun ride too. It was slapsticky at times. Like the episodic elements of this book are very fun in nature. They're very sci-fi, very goofy, but the actual overall arcing story was very serious. It was very awesome about his whole pantheon of gods not being happy, being in the background, letting someone else like kind of represent them. They wanted to be remembered. They wanted to be loved, and they started messing with his abilities, and he had to go address that in an awesome fight where he had his family show up, and they showed up in the proper fashion. They weren't powered up flying in like there's 15,000 different Captain Marvels. No, they showed up with the tools that they have at their disposal, having access to the Rock of Eternity. It was fantastic. They had mythical weapons and enchanted armor and all kinds of cool stuff that just played in perfectly to what kids would do. You know, it was a great moment.
And the characters that they came out are in coincide to old Fawcett characters from what was Earth S a while back, before the Crisis on Infinite Earths. You have Spy Smasher, you have Bullet Man, you have you have all those characters that longtime readers of Fawcett and Captain Marvel comics will recognize very well.
My dog can see you guys. I hope you know. Dude, there's no way. We wore our dog camouflage. Mm-hmm. Dude, that was what a crap show. It was very quiet, Esteban. Shazam! Mm-hmm. What is his name? His name is the Captain. So they still don't have legal rights to call him Captain Marvel, but they got it to that point. It's just called the Captain.
Yeah. And we end the issue. I mean, the first story arc is over now, but we end the issue with a huge, Black Adam is coming back next issue. So, great way to start off the second arc.
Cliff said Earth S reference always welcome. Absolutely. Honestly, don't like the concept of them not being powered up. I don't like the concept of them being there. I also enjoy the family with powers. Nope. Sorry, people. Let's almost water him down. Like it's watering him down.
Jeff Johns can take his Captain Marvel family over to
yeah, go do that Geiger universe.
Exactly.
He fit perfectly in the unnamed universe.
Yeah, it's funny. I say that kind of kiddingly, but it will be funny to see what, if anything, happens. And now that Jeff Johns will not be writing for the DC universe anymore, I assume, see if they start to undo anything that he has done.
This is the first one of it. Yeah. They just literally reverted his run, which needed to be done. It needed to be done. This character was a literal joke in the movies, in the books, in the animated feature films. He didn't do anything but showed up for comic relief, which is crazy to think about because if you go back in time to Jeff Johns' JSA run, he didn't do him like that. He was like kind of wasn't a joke in those at all. He was Earth's mightiest mortal. I like the Marvel family a little. I enjoy Jeff Johns' Shazam. I'm not saying that was bad. I'm just saying that's not Captain Marvel.
Right.
It was fun to do for a little bit kind of thing. I'm not going to argue that. It's more of a story arc than it is like you don't need to redefine the character. Just do it for a story arc. Power them up when you can every now and then and move on. Jeff Johns is leaving. I must be asleep. That would sink DC. Jeff Johns hasn't been the bread and butter of DC for a long time. They can't afford to do him full-time or keep him there full-time. He's doing all kinds of other stuff. He comes in and does projects like Flashpoint Beyond miniseries, the new Golden Age little thing, the Stargirl miniseries, and he's on JSA, and that is it right now. And I don't think they announced what the last issue he has yet, but he has his own entire comic company that he founded. All creator-owned. It's the most exciting thing coming out in comics right now.
Google Ghost Machine. Google Ghost Machine, Scott.
Don't you dare.
He is also kind of bridging a path for DC as well.
Search Ghost Machine Legion of Comics, and I have a video up that explains it all to you. Perfectly breaks it down.
I would say Jeff Johns is kind of bridging like a path for DC, especially with the new Golden Age and stuff, because that tied into Jake Garrick's The Flash. It's going to tie into other projects going forth. But like you said, like they're pretty good right now, especially with having like Tom King, Joshua Williamson, Rom V,
Jeremy Adams,
Jeremy Adams,
Tim Sheridan. We'll see. We got a good one out of him so far.
Yeah, he didn't start off with good one with Titans Academy, but
I honestly look at Titans Academy as like a total editorial restricted type thing. Tim Sheridan was on board with Jeff Johns and Jeremy Adams for the Flashpoint Beyond thing, which, like, can you think of a better writing partner than Jeff Johns? Like, that's right. Crazy. So, and you see them often in comic shops, public settings, doing signings and stuff together. So, if he's in good company, I think Tim Sheridan has proven that he's capable of doing some good stories. It might just be some writers do better than others with editorial limitations. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll see. Batman puts kids in danger.
Batman's a fascist.
Oh, that's hilarious. I just remember the JSA by Jeff Johns around 1999. That was fun reading it. That's when he first came in. Like that Day of Judgment stuff and everything. Damien is danger. Yeah. So what's one that you guys got? Yeah, I was very excited for that. That's exactly what, when we started this is what I wanted, and that's exactly where it is. We caught it in the beginning, and we were there. Let's keep it going, Mark Wade. Keep it going. What you got there?
This one though, right?
You can feel free to spoil it because I didn't even plan on buying it. I went back and got it the next day because Finn wanted
the scratch and sniff.
Finn wanted this cover, and it is in fact a rub and smell. You rub it, and it smells like candy cane. It gets on your hand and everything.
Wow.
So, yeah, let's. Yeah, I think that they might do a better cover for it. Like you're just gonna smell his bloody face, and it smells like candy canes.
Yeah, it's a dope cover though, right? It's a Ben Oliver variant. I don't understand. Like, I didn't read it yet. It's out of the bag and board, not just because I've been huffing it all week, which I have been. I'm not going to lie. I definitely have. Paul can confirm that.
Yes.
But I did plan on reading it. I wanted to check it out. Like, I think someone said something about Santa training Batman or something like that, which sounds really fun.
Well, he makes a comment that when Santa comes in, there are these almost vampire like, they're called the Draug, but they're almost like a vampire type of a thing that had invaded Gotham City, and we find out that Santa at one point had actually trapped all of them, and now since they're free, he's come back to try to help them, and we find out that Santa actually knows Batman, and Batman makes a comment that he taught me some things that I still use, and which answers the question where Batman gets all those wonderful toys.
Yes, that is where he gets those wonderful toys.
Yes. It's a little bit, I mean, if anyone has ever read the Grant Morrison, Dan Moore Claws series that they did at Boom, it reminds me a little bit of that in some ways, the Santa here, because it goes back to Scandinavian times and things like that. And but now, we have the Batman family, all of them, Nightwing and Batgirl and Damian and Bruce teaming up with Santa to try to capture these vampire-like things. So, and it looks as though the big, again, from the Grant Morrison thing, it looks like Krampus may be actually the evil villain here. So.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to read it. And you said this is going to come out once a week for the month of December to get a 4-issue
Yep.
series out. Yeah, it looks really fun.
Yeah, I was planning on reading it, but I just didn't have time.
Yeah, we'll definitely I'll probably pick up the other ones then if that's the case. Just 4 issues, Holly Jolly month. I miss Endless Winter, man. That was such a great idea. It was like 3 years ago they did the Endless Winter storyline that was just for the month of December. It was like a 6-parter.
That was way back when Scott Snyder was writing Justice League.
Dude, I don't know when it was, but dude, I absolutely loved it. It was right after Metal, right after the last Metal. Because everyone's like, I'm not doing another event. I'm like, bro, it's just a Christmas miniseries. And it turned out to be awesome. They gave us the Justice League Viking, like dude, this is amazing. Like, it was so cool. The Frost King was in it. That was a good time. What a fun series. But this is something. This is better than nothing. We get a Christmas miniseries. I'm all on board for that. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Sir Timothy, can you tell me what's going on in Birds of Prey, good sir?
A lot of action. You got like most of the Birds of Prey. Like, it kicks off on this issue like they're in it. Like the last issue, it was at the end. It said next issue, Birds of Prey versus Wonder Woman, and it delivers. And that at first you got Zealot going up against Wonder Woman, but then she's like, no, you handle my guards, you handle my Amazonians. So she sends Amazonians after her, and Wonder Woman goes on to the next Birds of Prey character, which is Big Barda. Goes head to head with her for a little bit. She ends up escaping from her. She goes head to head with Cassandra Cain. It was just great. And then it flips back over to Zealot, where previous issue, she did this whole ritual where she cannot die and nobody can die by her hands either. So we get a whole page where you see all of these Amazonians laying there mutilated, arms chopped off, and one of them is like, her body is like half apart, and she's like, how am I still alive? And then Zealot's just like, no, you'll be fine in an hour or so. It moves on. I don't know. They never went back to it, so probably not. But it was good.
Heavily to the to what's going on in Wonder Woman proper at all, or anything, or is that just Amazon?
They did mention that in this book. They said like we can't. We have the threat of the Birds of Prey kind of sneaking in, having like an invasion. They were calling it an invasion. They were like, we can't deal with this and what we're dealing with the U.S. government declaring war on us. So they did mention that. So it's tying into what's going on there. Yeah, so the whole thing was they were trying to get Sin out, and Big Barda ends up letting it loose to Diana because of the fact that the lasso of truth. But they also took a weapon from the I thought I had it here. They took a weapon from Big Barda that is like, it's like Mega Rod that's like connected with Darkseid and that on Apocalypse and that frequency something. There was a character that got a hold of it called Megadra, and it's a Fury God. So now, like, it went head to head. It already took out Wonder Woman, and it ended up trying to consume the rest of the Birds of Prey. And said, then the next issue, it's inside the belly of the beast.
And Scott asked, "Did you say Zealot? Who? Yeah, Zealot from Wildcats. Who is the official roster of this current Birds of Prey?"
You got Big Barda, you got Zealot, you got Sin is now part of it. You got Harley Quinn, who didn't do anything in this issue. You have Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, and then of course leading it is Black Canary.
Nice. Sounds like there's a lot going on. Sounds a lot of action.
It was definitely an action-packed series, like issue, for sure. In that, I'm excited to see where it leads to next. But I think we're going to be. They did take out Wonder Woman in that. I'm not sure. Like, she's incapacitated at the end of this issue, and yeah. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. They're still in Themyscira, even though with this beast. So I'm sure Themyscira or Wonder Woman will have something related to this happening in the next issue.
Paul, are you keeping up with Birds of Prey?
I have not. I got the first 2 issues, I think, and then I just kind of lost interest.
Fair enough. And I haven't been picking it up. TM Nerdy made an agreement with me early on that I can read it vicariously through his reviews.
There you go.
It's definitely a series that like a lot of people are sleeping on. It's a really good series.
I would say I'd check it out, but I'll be honest with you, I'm having a hard time keeping up with what I got. I didn't read my smell effect book.
I feel you. That's why I'm like, as much as like I'm liking Action Comics, I've talked to Chris from Retro Rocket. I was like, yeah, after the next issue and the annual, I want to drop.
That's PKJ's last. Yeah, that's PKJ's last issue.
And I'm so far behind on it too. And I'm like I'm reading Birds of Prey digitally. I should be picking up physically, because I'm like reading it right when it comes out, rather than Action Comics, which I'm like 3 issues behind.
Yeah, so that's fair. If something's not like if you're not like excited to grab something and read it this day and age, like with the price of them and the amount of stuff that's out there, swap it up. You can easily, like, for us, it's not hard to follow along with stories we're not reading. You know, we have so many people we talk to and stuff like that. I'm very nervous for what's coming for Action Comics. I saw in the DC Connect that Jason Aaron is attached to it. And the only thing that Jason Aaron's done that I would co-sign, and I can't pretend I have a ton of experience with him, at least not that I know of, but his Punisher run. And most people would disagree with me on that. That last Punisher run he did with where he was like the leader of the Hand. Most people didn't like that, but I would argue most people that didn't like it didn't read it.
But he's only doing like 3 or 4 issues, I think. Because then Mark Waid is supposed to be pick up a story as well, and maybe even Joshua Williamson may be doing something.
I have no like real enthusiasm for that format.
Mm-hmm.
I think like you're just doing like an overblown anthology at this point.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be like it's not going to be like Brave and the Bold. I don't think, because like Brave and the Bold, you have. I mean, well, they screwed up Brave and the Bold with the whole Tom King thing, where it was like the first 2 issues and then it disappeared for like 5 issues. You know, the whole thing with the Joker. But Brave and the Bold is, for the most part, doing this. You know, a lot of stories with writers and artists that you don't really know, and you know they're doing a lot of you know, showcasing new talent and things like that. Whereas this seems to be going with more established writers anyway. We'll see. You know, we'll see what happens. You know, I could be totally wrong, and maybe when it comes out in January, it's going to look exactly like Brave and the Bold with just one story in the front that has a big name author, and the rest of them will be, you know, people that they found out on the street somewhere.
You're talking about the Zipporah?
Exactly. Zipporah Smith.
The Zipporah.
Don't forget about Wendy Maines or Cindy Maines, whatever her name is.
Yeah, the DC Deep Dive 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Watch DC Deep Dive tomorrow morning.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what I did read that was a blast this week. I guess it's my only non-DC book, and it was Transformers issue number 3. This was my favorite issue yet. Getting past the excitement of issue 1 of actually just finally getting it in hand and experiencing the Energon universe, Daniel Warren Johnson Transformers brought to life, getting past that initial excitement that's associated with that. This issue right here had it all. This one just had me sold. It was fast-paced. You had our human characters trying to catch up with the events happening around them, while Laserbeak was chasing down one of our main characters and the father of the other main character. And we see none other than Cliffjumper show up to help. And the second he walks in, the dad just blasts him out the house. No questions, just blasts him out the house, and they go running. And dude, like, it caught me off guard. It was one of those perfect page turning moments, the way that the panels were laid out. It was super awesome. And then just for Cliffjumper to get up, lick his wounds, like, all right, let me catch back up and try to explain to him I'm a good guy. He catches back up to him throughout a bar, trying to rally the town folk who are locked and loaded and ready to ride. And the second Cliffjumper opens the door, hey guys, sorry we got off on the wrong foot. Boom! He just does it again, sends him out the building. It was hilarious, dude. I was laughing so hard. And for it to be such a serious book and to catch you like that, it was a great comic book reading experience. And Dr. Von Hoot here pops up. Hell yeah, Transformers time. Starscream was amazing in it. And what did Starscream do other than just like fussed with some of his underlings about getting out there and not using Megatron's name and his presence and stuff. And he sent, who did he send out? Was it Thundercrack? He sent out to go catch up to him and shut him down. And he does. He catches up to him at the bar and starts kicking and killing humans left and right. Then Optimus is on the way with Spike. And when he shows up, he shows up. Like, doesn't stop. You turn the page and he's flying through the air, just rocking him. And one thing that this book, Skywarp, thank you. One thing that this book is doing that I haven't seen in the volume 1 stuff I've been reading through are those, like, we constantly see panels and images like that, where instead of constantly showing the Transformers and the characters shifting through like their transformation, no, it's just a still frame of them halfway transformed in transformation, parts hanging out and stuff. It is wicked cool. Such an amazing artistic style. So Skywarp and Optimus have a knockdown drag out fight. Optimus loses an arm, doesn't care, beats him with it. It was rock and roll. In the process, Spike gets shot, which was terribly tragic. Optimus goes ham after that, rips his own arm off, and beats.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, "Oh shit, this shit's going down."
When he did that, I'm like, "No, hit him with it, hit him with it!" And sure enough, you turn the page, and he's planting his arm over his head, like rocking him, like spinning the wind up and deliver, and he just keeps going. Like, dude, it was an intense, awesome issue. It was pretty sad. And we, at the end of it, Optimus looks at Spike's dad. He's like, "Yo, chill out, get in. I'm not letting this kid die. Let's go. Come with me. I'm going to save your boy." And we get this awesome panel, like I said, still shot of him in transformation. Like, we get a little shot of the matrix of leadership in his chest, attention to detail there. But dude, it was amazing. It was an absolute experience from page 1 to the last page. Like, I was excited on every single panel, hanging on the words. Couldn't wait to see what was coming. 10 out of 10 issue. It was so good. Optimus does freaking Death Valley Driver in it, and that's not even the most metal bit in it. No, it was awesome. That might be the best couple panels in the book so far. Love Skywarp. Second favorite Seeker due to that black and purple. Thrust is my fave. Very cool. Very, very cool. Paul, are you reading Transformers?
I am, but it won't arrive until next week.
Sorry, I just spoiled it for you.
That's okay.
What do you think, TM, overall? Where would you...
I really enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. I'd say it was probably my second favorite read of the week. First being a book that you guys can hear the review on over Sector 2815's channel tomorrow morning. Waller Rising. I really enjoyed that issue more.
You can definitely touch on it, man. Feel free to touch on it. Like, that is a thick boy book, and we go in on it. So feel free to go ahead and recap that if you want. And tell us what you liked about it.
Well, it's no surprise. I really liked the incorporation of the red. You brought in Vixen in the story, and of course, it's hard to even like review all of it because it had a lot going on in it and stuff. And I do like the fact that you do see Deadeye coming back, and it's like which is Waller's nephew, and how Dr. Hate has kind of gone rogue and is doing his own thing. Still curious to know who Dr. Hate is. I have a theory on that.
Who do you think it is?
I'm going back to like the only character that really wanted to become Dr. Fate and then got shunned away by the actual Dr. Fate, and that's Salem.
Now, I didn't really have a working theory until this issue. Now, before we started the stream, who did you say you expect them to kind of bring in to the comics and leave someone else out?
Oh, you think it's Maxine?
No.
Oh, you think it's Buddy?
It has to be somebody who's aware of the kingdom.
That is true. So,
So for those that don't know, Waller Rising is a oversized one-shot attached to Beast World, and it is massive. The book is huge. There's so much content in this book, ties into the past couple of years worth of storytelling at DC from numerous titles. It would take, I would say, at least 16 minutes and 34 seconds to do reviewing it justice. That's how much happens in this book. And that's, I think, how long it takes us to do it on the deep dive, because there's a lot in here. But TM nailed it on kind of just giving you the overview there with Dr. Hate going after the kingdom. The kingdom is like the mystical place where the parliament exists. You know, the parliament is the embodiments of life on this planet. You know, the animals, the plants, and the rot. That's where the parliament exists, that is in control of those avatars: Swamp Thing, Animal Man, Solomon Grundy, people like that. And Dr. Hate makes a play for the kingdom, wants to destroy it with this very complex plan. And that plan involves picking up pieces of stories over the past couple of years and picking up where they left off, like stuff like Justice League Incarnate, Adventures of Superman, John Kent, the last time we saw Black Manta. You know, like there's so much it picks up on. It was a delight to read and see that none of that stuff was forgotten. And we go into a lot of detail on all that tomorrow, but one thing they don't do, like TM pointed out, is they don't give us who Dr. Hate is yet, but I think it has to be somebody associated with the Parliament. It has to. And that
would make sense. Like then, like in the comics, like in continuity right now, Buddy Baker is dead, so they could have brought him back
with a simple helmet, which we know brings people back from the dead.
So does the Lazarus Reign, right? So it's like,
so does the Lazarus. So does, and where did all this kick off at? That was another book it ties into, is Lazarus Planet.
Also, who like, because he did reveal himself to, so was it Gar that he revealed himself, and Gar, or who was it?
It was in the DC Primer or whatever it was when they first showed him in the shadows, just taking off the helmet. All they said was "you." There was someone on Waller's team that recognized the character, and I'm not even sure that it's a male.
I feel like he did it in Beast World as well.
Might have. They're
I thought it was like Gar, and it was like a reveal, like he was like, "You, it's you." Like, really? And that, and like,
so wouldn't that be an even bigger stinger? Like maybe a connection to the Red, like with Gar and stuff.
Yeah.
Because Gar was the avatar of the Red for a while.
Which would bring in Maxine Baker, because she's technically the true avatar of the Red. Buddy Baker was just a substitute. So until Maxine was old.
And we had B'Wana Beast in this issue, who's another character associated with the Red.
Freedom Beast.
Paul liked to point it out, Freedom Beast.
Yeah, I pointed it out too, but we don't understand what the Freedom Beast name is all about.
It's a different person.
Okay, the last time I saw B'Wana Beast, or it could have possibly been Freedom Beast, was when they did Suicide Squad King Shark miniseries, which was just a tournament under the ocean of who the next Avatar of the Red was going to be. But I dropped that because Tim Seeley's a terrible writer, and it hurt my soul to even continue trying to read it. It was bad. It was bad. Yo, I tried, dude. It's King Shark. It's Suicide Squad, and I had to drop it. Like, that's crazy. Like Superman and Lobo that he did, I dropped it. Like he picks up stuff that like should be like my go-to. Like, I'm gonna love this. I'm like, yo, I can't even finish this.
Which it makes sense that it is like Freedom Beast rather than B'Wana Beast, because they're two different characters in that. Freedom Beast shows up. Actually, I have the first appearance of him. It's like not even a huge key, but he is the one that showed up in Titans, the Titan series as well.
In the live action?
Yeah. And he's an African American character, which Paul pointed out all of those characters were. And they're like, I think they're like going to be like a part of the network in that. So it makes sense that it is Freedom Beast and not B'Wana Beast.
Yeah. Yeah. So who wrote it? Chuck Brown wrote that. And he's clearly putting together, that was like an origin story of a team that's going to be showing up again later. But yeah, what is going on, Nick? Hope you're having a good evening. Hope you had a good weekend. Here to take a random woman with random kids around the need to rise. Okay. Godzilla -1 reference there. I think the best concept of the Red was Animal Man and his daughter. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Another one that was cool, the other one that we cover tomorrow in great detail is Titans Beast World Tour Metropolis. So what this is, along the next month here, while we go through this Beast World, we'll be doing these one-shots that showcase different cities in the DC universe. This week, we took a look at what's happening around Metropolis during this outbreak of Garo and all these people being turned into creatures and stuff as they're possessed. 3 stories included in this one featuring Dreamer, which was really solid, one featuring Jimmy, which was a blast, and one featuring Superman that was, my God, it was so good. It's ridiculous. That Superman story in this, if you're reading the main Superman title, you might not want to miss it. It's only like 10 pages?
Like 8 pages, I think, yeah.
Yeah, like I'd hate for you to have to pay $6 just for that, but it is absolutely worth reading. It was so freaking good.
I like Dreamer too, but I know the character mostly from the Supergirl TV show.
Yeah, last time I saw Dreamer was during Lazarus Planet when they had to have her to go get the Helmet of Fate, which was really cool to pick back up on that and see how she's been affected from that, having premonitions into the future. There's a lot to break down in that as well, especially if you're keeping up with Superman titles. DC Deep Dive will be at 10 p.m. tomorrow. It'll be up and available on Sector's channel. It's like a 30-minute episode. I'm telling y'all, there's a lot to talk about in these books. Both of them were oversized.
10 a.m.
Yet another good character that got her start, got like introduced first in TV and then brought into the comics.
Yeah, Dreamer's super cool. You know what else was super cool, TM?
Superman 78.
Yeah, it sure was, man. Good call. Did you read that one?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think? Tell me about it.
I enjoyed it, and that brings back the old school feel of like Superman and that. And now we have Superman. Literally, he's trying to find a way to like tell Lois that he is Clark Kent. Clark Kent is Superman, but he brings Superman brings Lois to the Fortress of Solitude to show her like his parents and that, to get to know him a little bit more and stuff. Like she wants to interview him and ask them a ton of questions, but says, no, here, I'll introduce you to my parents and that they'll tell you a little bit about me. He's just about to tell Lois who he is, but then an explosion happens and he has to go and save a pilot. He comes across Metallo just beating the living crap out of Superman. And that, so I really enjoyed this. Like it was another quick issue, but it's still worth every minute.
Yeah, it wasn't just any pilot either. It was a pilot call sign Highball. That was Hal Jordan.
I did not know that.
That was Hal Jordan as a pilot. Also, this issue was it was interesting. It really caught my attention, the fact that, one, his parents are alive, because this is the Christopher Reeve movie universe, and this is the first time that they've done any kind of story or callback to point out that his parents are potentially alive. It also throws Superman 2, 3, and 4 completely out of canon. It looks like the Superman 78 comic book series is only taking the first Superman movie continuity and building from that. That's confirmed now thanks to this issue, which is perfectly fine. And but yeah, I started wondering, like, why is she asking him for this interview? Why is she acting like she doesn't know this stuff? And I'm like, okay, so we got that takes us back before Superman 2. And I'm like, okay, his parents are alive. That Superman 2 never happened then. Superman 2 will not happen. Like, that's not canon at all. So Superman the movie is canon. Everything else is all brand new when it comes to this comic. I completely agree. These read ridiculously fast. There's not much to them, but we did get to see the standoff between Metallo and Superman kick off. I'm excited to see where that's going to go, because to me, it just looks like a Lex Luthor power suit, more or less. Paul, where do you weigh in on this issue?
Yeah, it was a very fast issue as well. I think, but one thing I really like about Robert Venditti is he really gets the whole concept of the Superman 78 movie. He does really good at writing period pieces. He also was writing Sandman, in the 40s and things like that. So he does really well, I think, at writing these period pieces. And I'm again, I wish it was it took me a little bit more to get through it, but reading it fast doesn't necessarily mean that it's not good.
100% agree. And I only have one more book in my list for this week. How many of y'all got left?
I have one too.
Is it Batman number 140?
It is Batman number 140.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. What'd you think?
Zero-Na. It's all about Zero-Na.
Oh.
But what's that?
Still doing that. Still doing Zero-Na.
Still Zero-Na. But Zero-Na has a new host by the end of the issue. So
yeah, callback. Yay.
Exactly. And who knows? Could Vandal Savage be the new police commissioner of Gotham City?
Quite possibly. So this issue was fun, but it just all right. The main Batman title just feels cheap to me. It's just cheap thrills. It's just inside Batman's head. He's fighting with all the different personalities of Zero-Na that piggybacked while he was flying through the multiverse in issue 900. In the real world, Zero-Na is full control over Batman's body, fighting the Joker, chasing him down, having a fight across the city, all for it to end with Zero-Na having moved his consciousness into failsafe. That seems like that was his ultimate play, like hide in the wings so I can get my mind into failsafe, the android body, and that's where it ends. So we're right back where we started. I don't know why I don't know what's more dangerous, failsafe with Zero-Na or just failsafe, because either way, it's kind of the same thing. It's just a Batman without Bruce Wayne driving a robot body. So we're back to failsafe.
Yes, we are.
Right back where
Detective Comicx is the Batman book to read if you're reading a Batman book.
We were literally right back where we started. Oh my gosh. Thanks, Chip. Yeah, I know a lot of people are really digging this, but I don't know. It's not bad. I wouldn't say it's bad one bit. It's just, I don't know. I'm spoiled right now. Like you said, Detective Comicx is just it's hitting on the right beats for me. It's gonna be different for everybody, but I can't wait for Tuesday. To be honest with you, Detective will probably be the first book I pull to read because I'm so excited to see what's about to happen. You know, they pull the lever, they drop Batman from the gallows, about to see if his feet snap or if Azrael gets there in time. Catwoman's supposed to have an ace up her sleeve in case he does die. Like, dude, I'm just ready to see Azrael clean the streets, my man. Like, that was insane. I'm so excited about that plot point. It's just it's wild. Chip's Batman is ridiculous. Someone said it. Yeah, I'm trying to be nice here. It's just Looney Tune stuff going on there, and I don't like it. What is going on in Comicx now? I've been catching up on Harley Quinn lately. Who else is reading that? I don't read the main Harley Quinn title. I know Rob's Fat Stacks. He keeps up with it. Yeah, last Harley Quinn stuff I picked up was when they did the Night Terror stuff a couple months back. They did those two issues, which were the first one was actually phenomenal. That first Night Terrors one was so good. Yeah, there's too many Batman comics. Agreed. 100% agreed. Detective Comicx is the only one you need. And then you got the Black stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Well, I'm saying the only one you need. The rest is just icing on the cake. But as long as Batman is keeping the lights on, you got to appreciate him. What is going on, Scott? Hope you're doing good tonight. I'm sorry, Hoarders, because Scott's going to be like what I say. Two Scott. Yeah, that was the last book I got. As far as Monarch talk, dude, it's already 10 o'clock. We'll just dive into Monarch next week, right at the front end of the show. TM's got some catching up to do. Dirge will be back with us next week. The Birds were playing tonight at a make-up time slot.
They're playing the Cowboys even as we speak.
Who's winning? I told Dirge that the Birds are going to beat the Cowboys by 14 points. And I said that having less than zero knowledge about sports. Just said it on a whim.
Hold on a second. I can tell you who's winning.
Sir Timothy Nerdy, I've got Sandman 3, Beast World number 2, Batman City of Madness, the Christian Ward Black Label, which is haunting.
Danger Street. The Cowboys are winning by 18 points.
Then we got Superman Lost, Batman Gargoyle of Gotham, Green Lantern number 6, which should be a big issue, being the issue 6. Action Comics 1060, which also, for those of y'all keeping up, has a backup story with Dreamer in it. So we'll figure out what happened after this week's Beast World Metropolis. And here it is, Detective Comicx, I believe 1070 something. No, 1079. 1079, okay. Yeah. And then Silver Surfer Rebirth Legacy issue number 4. I'm digging this series, man. There's retro Marvel.
You should make a whole video with all those comic covers.
Yeah, I probably should. I definitely should.
Yeah, I'm picking up Action Comics 1060, and he's slowly to read it. Batman and Robin #4.
Yeah, I
World's
wouldn't be able to
Finest Teen
afford this.
Titans
I wouldn't be
6.
able to. I wouldn't be able to afford the shipping, Chris. Yeah, do a Legion loot box with just 1 month's worth of Bat titles. Not even if you don't even include Nightwing or Harley, just do the Batman titles alone. Yeah, shipping alone would bankrupt my family probably. It would be astronomical. But Chris, I don't know if you've seen it. I know you hadn't caught a live stream a little bit, but this month's Legion loot is Incredible Hulk issue 180 in the CGC 8.0, the first appearance of Wolverine. Now, because that is a special book, that's going to be a 2-month. It'll roll over for the month of December and January. So be sure to don't miss out on that insanity. I figured that's a good book, right? Like a decent blue chip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
media. All the media. I got 67 pounds of media right here. That'd be a lot. The one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. DJ Links.
Also going to be picking up World's Finest Teen Titans 6, which I feel like is the superior Teen Titans book.
Oh
No,
man,
absolutely not.
that Canadian internet failed. I'm just kidding.
No, absolutely not.
I will be picking it up as well, but it's just going straight over to Pop's Attic to be sold. Like I'll read through and I'm not keeping that 6. I found out it's just a 6-issue miniseries, so I'm not going to pick up the last. I'm going to skip the last issue. Right, that was just like my top 10 books.
I do like where it leaded in issue 5. Like it all came together, like every aspect through each issue, and that I've really been enjoying World's Finest Teen Titans. Batman Gargoyles of Gotham 2 I'm getting. Mad City or City of Madness 2, Titans Beast World 2, Danger Street, the last issue of Danger Street.
Yeah, that was on my list, wasn't it?
Yep.
Wesley Dodds The Sandman. The Outsiders 2. Outsiders 2.
Yo, Danger Street wasn't on that list that I just showed. That's funny.
It was in your video.
Where'd number 3 go? Oh, I must have already deleted it. Yeah, it's on the thumbnail even.
And the next DC Christmas book that's coming out, which is going to be really good, I think. DC Twas the Might before Christmas.
Yeah, that's going to be the $10 80-page Christmas special, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Titans are having a rough go at it right now. That World's Finest Teen Titans is a great little just 6-issue introduction to the characters, reminder of who the characters are, kind of thing. It's not bad. It's just I don't need it on my pull list, kind of thing. There's no overarching importance to the mini series to the greater DCU, so it's kind of just like a who's who kind of thing at the younger years. But they're also doing the Tales of the Teen Titans, spotlighting the individual characters like that as well.
It's hard to say too, because like you say like it's the older, it's like older, but it's like it's set in modern time because they have cell phones and they're using like.
If you take the Titans and like you take the modern Titans and pretend like comics haven't been around for like 90 years, and you just rewind back to their teen years, that's what they're doing. It's just, they're not pretending like it's the 1970s. They're pretending like if the Titans are alive in 2023, what year would it have been when they were teens? And that's what they're playing.
This is
I just feel like the whole story changed. I've said this before on the show, but like issue 1, I absolutely loved. We had the scene with Dick. We find out that Batman won't let Robin tell everybody else what his secret identity is.
Important to
have everyone
the Titan story.
Even. We have everyone with their mentors and everything, and we see Speedy, and then we find out that he's talking to basically a dummy because Oliver's not around. And then we end up at this Teen Titans convention, and I'm like, what the heck just happened?
Well, that played back though in with Toy Boy coming back into the fray with the Terror Titans. Yeah, I know that's what they call him, Toy Boy.
Yeah, it's a little whimsical. I do like that they brought in when Bumblebee brought the Guardian shield.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool to get a Guardian out of it. That was pretty dope.
I've been really having fun.
Y'all are hard to please. It's just unnecessary for me. For me, it's not for. I mean, like TM likes it. A lot of people like it. Cliff's enjoying it. It's just not my jam. I think that they're spreading out their efforts on Teen Titans instead of like really landing that main title like they need to be doing. That's like where they're missing on like their most important book right now.
I think he was talking about his previous post that we didn't laugh at it. That's what he was talking about.
I thought you were talking about the actual Titans book. Yeah. There's some good stuff coming.
I got you, Joe. I got you, Joe.
I'll be live Tuesday, of course, for New DC Day. We'll be talking, hanging out for a little bit. 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Of course, we're running the weekly giveaway. If you want some free DC Comics and some trading cards, be sure to check that out. This past Tuesday, gave away the connecting cover set that came out this week for Justice League Godzilla Kong. The sound effects cover. These things are super cool. And they came in resealable poly bags, which is super dope. Like I'm digging these things. Definitely like them. Boom, 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 boom. But yeah, that's all I got for tonight. You can find Sir Timothy Nerdy here on Between the Lines tomorrow night at what time?
8:35 p.m. real time.
Whose channel?
Is it on your channel or Roscoe's this time?
Yeah, it is on my channel this week. And our guest is John's Comics with Kids. I made the thumbnail to look like a good 90s throwback.
You're allowing stick figures on your show, I see.
Yeah. No, and the theme this week is droids. But then all of a sudden Roscoe hit up John and was like, so the theme is droids. And then John's like, no, just robots. So I told everybody droids, so I seem like a liar now. So, but yeah, that's what I turned into. And Roscoe was like, yeah, I hit him up and he said, just robots. I was like, I told everybody droids. But droids, robots, whatever you guys would like to draw. Well, between those two, not whatever you guys want to draw.
Now, are y'all going to define the difference on the show for the people at home who want to draw so you don't have someone send in a droid instead of a robot?
No, it's I guess droids is only Star Wars because Roscoe tried to like type in droids and all it came up with Star Wars characters. So if it's not non-Star Wars character, then it's probably a robot.
This was the connecting cover set for Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, issue number 1. These are the sound effects.
More. Yeah, exactly. Open one of those guys up.
So this is the Godzilla one.
Couldn't hear it.
You couldn't hear it?
No.
I could.
Oh, okay, I got it.
And then this is the King Kong one.
The Godzilla one was a lot better.
Yeah. No argument there.
At the start, it might be the muffledness but it does sound like somebody's taking a big poop.
King Kong like gets like a big front roar and then like fades out. They really did him dirty. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a King Kong person. Like that's when it comes to Godzilla and Kong. I love them both. But when you put them in, when it's a one or the other, King Kong for me. So it was kind of like sad. Monkey likes it, and that's what matters because those copies that you just saw are actually my kids' copies. They're already wearing them out. $15. They're just like, check it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, have fun with them. That's what matters. I'm trying to get them to treat them like expensive books, and they keep them up here and get them down when they want to play with them like a toy. But they like it. Issue 2 was fantastic. I can't wait for issue 3. Covers have been fun to chase on those as well. Monarch Legacy of the Monster, episode 5. We'll dive into it next week. We'll catch up on all that. Quick review of it. I give it about a 7.5. It was the weakest episode out of the bunch that they've done so far. It's a monster show. We didn't get any monsters. We got some good human element stuff, and they pissed a lot of fans off with this one too. Like the internet was definitely divided on this one, and no matter what someone's personal feelings on it, you can definitely see why. It's not hard to understand why people had an outcry about this one, but just remember where it takes place. Makes sense all of a sudden.
Mhm.
You know, that's literally what Kyle pointed out. Like, where's this at? I'm like, San Francisco. She goes, and I'm like, oh yeah, wait a minute. It's actually probably a super accurate episode of television then. But it was really good human element side, and it was really cool getting to see the direct aftermath of D-Day from that first movie. And yeah, I think it was the perfect counterbalance to the last episode, getting to dive in on Kentaro's backstory a little bit, and now we get to dive in on Kate's backstory a little bit. And it is super duper tragic. It was a super duper tragic episode.
Right.
But we'll dive in all.
We got a little bit more breadcrumbs too about why Shaw looks the way he is, and why he hasn't, why he's not 112.
Yeah, it's in the files.
Yeah.
And don't say it's in the files. Probably in there though. Yeah. So yeah, dude, I got a lot of thoughts. Got a lot of thoughts on Monarch, like the organization, because like it is a seedy, corrupt organization in this show. It wasn't when Randa started it, and it definitely was not in the modern films. This show does take place back in 2015, like right after the first G-Day. So I'm excited to see where this organization is going to turn. It looks like we can spot some good eggs and some bad eggs in the organization, and Shaw's utter unwillingness to cooperate with them unless they want to be a force for good. So hopefully this show, and I hope it goes for more than one season, will be about that shifting the bad elements out of it, but also us getting to experience Monarch as something to fear for a little bit. Like they did let the kids go. They captured Randa's kids. They caught up with them. They kept Shaw, but they did release the kids, which, if they didn't go put them on like a black site, they didn't keep them arrested, they didn't try to kill them, they let them go. And we kind of got to see why at the end, possibly, because I think that what's her name did call back Monarch, say I want out. So it looks like they let him go with a mission. They're watching, they need him, they want him. But we'll see. TM said, I'll be doing a live unboxing of my CBC awards on Thursday. Yeah, shout out and thank you to all the people. I got those in.
Mhm.
They're up here somewhere. They light up. No, see? Lights up.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, those are cool. But yeah, other than that, we'll dive in more detail on all the MonsterVerse stuff. TM hopefully will have an opportunity to get caught up on it. Because I'd love to pick his brain on it as well. I know he's not like a diehard crackhead over Godzilla, but I'm hoping that this show will get him there.
I am pumped for. I did watch the trailer for Godzilla X Kong, and that looks sick.
That looks wild, don't it? Like, let's go. But I appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out. Don't forget to check out Sector 2815. Subscribe to his channel. Check out those DC deep dives just once a week. And then every other Wednesday, we do Guess That Key. Be sure to check out Sir Timothy Nerdy at TM Nerdy right here on the YouTubes. And until next time, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.